Greetings, everyone, and welcome. I think we will get started now. Thank you for joining us for the webinar today on integrating Salesforce with JIRA, both cloud and JIRA server, using Zagil Connect. We have allocated an hour for the webinar, and we will provide an overview of Zagil Connect features, a demo, and also go into Q&A. So if you have any questions as we progress through the presentation, please post them so that we can pick them up at the end of the webinar. So first, let's start with the agenda. We will tell you about Zagil, who we are, what we're about. We will move to Zagil Connect Advantage. Why is it that we think this is the best solution for integrating Salesforce and JIRA? We will also point out the components involved here, both when you're integrating Salesforce with JIRA Server and also when you're integrating Salesforce with JIRA Cloud. We'll talk about some of the new features and enhancements that we have introduced recently, and quickly jump into demo. So the demo will cover a wide variety of capabilities of Zagil Connect, and we'll continue to point out some of the new features for many of you who have already experienced Zagil Connect integration. We have also added a section here on extending Zagil Connect. Now, this is things that we've learned from the field from many of our customers that we wanted to share with you. And beyond the out-of-the-box functionality that you will see in the demo, there are other things that can be done to incorporate or integrate Zagil Connect and the JIRA integration in Salesforce, integrate it within your internal workflows and processes. So we will show you some examples of that as we go through the webinar. We will also have, time permitting, a brief demo using one of those use cases. And then finally, we will jump into Q&A. And as I said before, please post your questions as we move along, and then we'll take them up in that order at the end of our presentation. So let's first tell you about Zagil. Zagil was founded in 2006, and it's based in San Francisco. It was founded with the mission and vision to integrate tools, teams, and processes in an organization, more particularly focused around sales, support, and product development teams. Our partners include Salesforce and Atlassian, and our growing list of customers represents a wide range of industries, from technology, utilities, construction, sports, to retail, hospitality, human resources, education, and so on. And they also represent a wide range of sizes, from companies with 100 employees to companies with up to 10,000 employees. And finally, we urge you to check us out in the news, in InfoWorld, SD Times, SemanticWeb.com, and so on. So let's talk about Zagil Connect Advantage. Why Zagil Connect? Why do we believe that this is the best solution for Salesforce and JIRA integration? First of all, it's support team focused. It allows or improves efficiency and productivity of support teams and allows them for quicker turnaround on customer reported issues. The integration here is targeted directly towards support teams. It focuses on their use cases, the primary use case being case escalation to product development, ongoing collaboration with product development on these escalations, as well as tracking escalation status. All of these things that allow support agents to, to provide faster response back to their customers. And hence, the information flow here, and this is important, is driven from Salesforce to JIRA. Zagil Connect provides fast and deep integration. The installation is quick and easy, and there are a lot of features, again, providing those benefits that I mentioned earlier to the support teams. For example, many-to-many relationships between case and issue. It's very likely that you can have a more complex case that a customer may have reported that actually could represent multiple issues within JIRA or multiple escalation points in JIRA. The same thing on the JIRA side. It's very probable that a particular issue may have been raised by a number of customers, so there are a number of cases associated with it. So you can establish those type of many-to-many links between case and issue. Beyond escalation, there's also ongoing collaboration, which is very critical. And collaboration occurs via comment and attachment exchange between case and issue. So Zagil Connect supports that. Moreover, more than just case comments and case attachments, you can also more efficiently share comments and attachments directly from case feed. So if you're using case feed, then you don't have to go directly to the case and enter comments there. You can interact with product development through case feeds. In this integration, one of the things that you will see is that we have more or less brought JIRA directly into Salesforce, so that support teams can achieve a lot of functions. For example, rather than going to JIRA, they can, from within Salesforce, create, update, link, search, view, transition, issue workflows. They can do all of that from within Salesforce. We also, in Zagil Connect, support reports in Salesforce that can involve both case and all escalations. So it's not just reporting on case itself, but also anything that has been escalated to product development, the status, and ongoing activity. All of those can be part of Salesforce reports. And finally, as I mentioned earlier, you can incorporate issue events, JIRA issue events in case-related workflows and processes. And this allows you to enrich further the integration as well as customize it to your internal processes. The updates between Salesforce and JIRA are bidirectional and real-time. So from a case, any fields that are updated that have been shared with JIRA will be sent to JIRA. The updates will be sent to JIRA in real time. And conversely, issue updates, if it involves any of the fields that have been shared with Salesforce, are sent to case in real time, so that both sides will have real-time view of what's happening on the other side. And finally, what makes it simpler is also the fact that there's a single Salesforce package that integrates with both JIRA Cloud and JIRA Server. This not only allows for easy installation, but as the product evolves, this also allows us to maintain consistency in the functionality that you may be able to leverage, regardless of whether you're using JIRA Cloud or JIRA Server. So let's take a look at Zagil Connect for JIRA Cloud. There's just a couple of things I wanted to point out here. There's a Salesforce package or Salesforce app that you will install from the App Exchange into your Salesforce instance. And then also in JIRA, there's a Connect app that you will install in JIRA. And you configure the two in terms of authentication as well as any of the setup parameters, and you're ready to go. Installation time typically is 30 to 45 minutes. In Jira Server, it's more or less the same. There is still the same Salesforce package that you will install in your Salesforce instance. On the Jira side, there's actually a plugin because here Jira is on-premise and behind your firewall. So the most important thing here are the prerequisites for establishing this integration. And those prerequisites are that your on-premise Jira, assuming that it's behind a firewall, must be accessible to Salesforce whitelisted IP addresses, which Salesforce publishes a list of those. And it should also allow for HTTPS connectivity using SSL certificate that comes from a Salesforce approved certificate authority. So in our documentation, we provide links to both of those, but those prerequisites are critical for you to start establishing this integration. Assuming those two prerequisites are met, again, the installation time here is usually 30 to 45 minutes. And also, I'll point out here, in terms of on-premise Jira, we support Jira version 6.1 and higher, and we recently released support for Jira 7.1. So we are typically a few weeks behind Jira releases or the latest Jira releases in terms of this support. So let's now jump into what's new with ZagileConnect. As I mentioned earlier, we have introduced a number of features and enhancements in the past few releases. And for many of you who are familiar with ZagileConnect, this is here we'll point out what's new, things that you can leverage, by upgrading. So first of all, I mean, over the past 9 months, we published 1 major and 3 minor releases. So we have been busy. And there's lots of new features. So I'll start with the first one, and I'll describe each one briefly. So first is case to JIRA field mapping. Previous to this, you could select a list of case fields along with other objects like account, contact, owner, etc., and share them with JIRA. And these would be shared in a read-only mode. They're not part of the issue, but they are there to provide a context. However, now we also, in addition to that, allow you to actually copy certain case fields directly into JIRA issue fields. There's a number of scenarios where this could be relevant. For example, if you have text fields like environment or product description or whatever, you want to actually copy large text information directly into JIRA issue rather than having that displayed in a table. You can copy them. More importantly, you can copy some of these fields into JIRA issue fields so that you can actually access them from JIRA via JQL or JIRA query or JIRA search. Examples of that would be copying case number into JIRA issue label. So that allows you to do quick searches on a particular case within JIRA if you want to know which issue was associated with it and what the status is. So that's really to help product development team track what they're doing relevant to any customer or any case. Also, the other thing here, and I'll show that in the demo, is this mapping happens when you initially create a JIRA issue from a case, but you can also optionally choose to update these fields whenever a case is updated. So you have the option of either just copying them the first time around, or not only copying them, but keeping them in sync with whatever is represented in the case itself. Then there's also auto issue creation when a case is created. This has been requested by some of our customers. Basically, when a case is created, an issue will be automatically created. And the feature just above that, the case to JIRA field mapping, becomes very relevant here, because once you do the mapping, then the issue will not only be created automatically, but it will also carry over whatever fields that you've chosen to add to that issue. Now, this could involve, for example, summary, description, and so on. And this mapping also allows you to then define whether you want case subject to be mapped or copied to issue summary, or you want to pick up a different case attribute to populate issue summary, issue description, and so on. So you have some flexibility there. In issue detail, we have added a bunch of new tabs that represent comments, activity history, work logs. So basically everything that you could see in an issue if you were logged into JIRA, we have now provided you all of that within Salesforce. We've also introduced console components. So there were a couple of features. Well, there's issue search that was available in prior releases that would allow you to either search JIRA for any keywords from within a case, from within the related JIRA page, but also it could give you recommended issues that potentially match the case subject. So now we have also, in addition to the functionality that was there before, we have now also made it available via console components. So it is there and more readily accessible to the support agent. And then the same with issue activity. So this becomes relevant only because if they're trying to track some escalation, they can look fairly quickly at whether or not there is any activity associated with that issue within product development. Has it been assigned? Has work started? Were there any updates recently? So that they have a better idea of whether someone has started working on it and what exactly has been happening to it. So these components are optionally available, and you can configure them, and they will give you real-time updates on whether or not what is the most recent activity associated with one or many issues that are related to that case. And as I mentioned earlier, comments and attachments from case feed. Now this becomes very convenient because oftentimes it's much easier and faster for support teams to just use the feed view and then interact with engineering, send them comments and attachments directly from there rather than go down to the case detail form. And then finally, the ability for you to incorporate issue attributes in workflow, flow and process builder. So this is something that we actually plan to give you a brief demo a little bit later in the webinar on some ways that you can do this. Okay, so I think now I will jump into the demo. So we'll start with a list view first. And here you will see a column now that actually represents JIRA issues. This is enabled. This is one of the newer features or enhancements that we've added, where you can now configure a formula field within the case object that will allow you to either represent by count or via graphics the relationship between case and JIRA. So this will give you a list of all the cases and also cases that have any JIRA issues associated with it. So you can see that fairly easily just in the list view. And then also, moreover, you will see different types of icons. So these icons represent many issues associated with the case. And the ones before that you saw, these represent a single issue. So as you're looking at a list of cases that you're working on, you can immediately see whether or not any case has been escalated. And not only that, you can also just quickly go to the JIRA issues that are associated with the case. So this will give you a list of all of the JIRA issues associated with this case. And then if you want to track any of them, first of all, you of course have all of the key attributes that you've configured here just for a quick view, but you can also navigate to issue detail, edit, and transition the issues directly from here. We'll come back to this a little bit later, but I just wanted to point this out first. So let's start with one flow where we will create a new case. So let's see. I'll just quickly create a case, define a type, and in this flow, we will create a case and escalate it to engineering. And actually, for this, just to make it faster, I will paste some description. So here's the case that comes in, and you can see, for example, that right now there's no JIRA issue associated with it. A case has been reported by a customer related to MongoDB. So as I mentioned earlier, there's a couple of different mechanisms now. You can either say view suggested issues, and this will tell you if there's already something out there that was that is similar to what was reported here in JIRA. And if you want, you have the option of linking to that, so you don't have to create a new issue. You can just track one that exists out there that maybe another customer may have reported. And also, as I pointed out, earlier in terms of new features, you can look at the console component. So, for example, if I type in MongoDB here, it will give me all the different JIRA issues that are similar or that match that criteria. So this is essentially the same functionality as view or find that we offered here, but this is available as a console component if you want to configure that. And you can just drag it and link the case to this issue. So now, rather than creating a new issue, this has allowed me to basically track something that already exists so that I can know its resolution and report back to the customer when anything changes here. So this is one console component that gives you essentially related issues associated with a new case. It can be configured at a user level. Now, the second one, as I mentioned earlier, is issue activity. So here, this will automatically retrieve the most recent activity associated with the issue that the case is related to. So it could be related to one or many issues, and you'll see activity related to one or many of these. So this one here, for example, will tell me any activity associated with case 103, for example. Now let me unlink this. And so next, what we'll do in our flow is create a new issue. So the example that I just showed you is creating a new case, looking at JIRA, and potentially linking to existing issues, one or many from there. There's also a scenario where you may want to just escalate something to engineering. So this is a Visualforce page where you can accomplish some of these actions that we provide with zAgileConnect. So here we will just decide that we want to escalate. And so now you have a bunch of different options of creating an issue. First of all, you can start with the project. This will give you a list of available projects that have been configured and visible to the support team. So not every project in JIRA shows up here. It's only the selected projects that support teams should be able to use to create JIRA issues. And usually, this is going to be a handful of projects uh, that are meant for such escalations. So the same thing here. I mean, so you configure projects. You also configure issue types that are accessible or what the support teams must be able to create. And then you'll always see a default value here, just the same way as you saw it there. So you can configure the defaults. So here for this particular project, only task is available. But if we were to go to a different one, for example, software development, conceivably, let's see, let's try a different one here. So here you can see that I can create any number of things, a bug, task, epic, and so on. And the same thing with priority. So there's a default priority, but I can change it. I can add to these fields here, but as you see already, since we've done case to field mapping or case to issue mapping, you can see that case description and summary have already been copied into JIRA issue summary and description. Case, there's a custom label here, so that's copying some value from case attribute. Case origin is copied here. Case number is copied to JIRA issue label, and so on. So this is all what field mapping allows you to do. So now you have the option of creating a JIRA issue, or if you need to, you can also go to additional fields and specify other values. So it really depends upon your internal processes and what engineering or product development requires you to capture or to provide when you're escalating something to engineering. So you have access to all of the issues essentially available in the issue create screen right within Salesforce. So we'll go ahead and create the JIRA issue. And you can see now that a new issue has been created, and this is all of the sort of ongoing kind of the default values that have been set for that issue. So number of actions available to us here. So I'll just walk through some of them. You can click on the issue here and look at the issue details as we talked about earlier. These are the tabs that have been made available recently with some of our more recent enhancements. So looking at issue comments, work log, history, all of those things are available directly from within Salesforce. Moreover, you can also edit the issue. So if you need to provide some additional information that product development may be requesting, for example, if there were any fixed versions or components associated with this that are relevant to the customer, you can update it right here. You can also transition the issue. So where it becomes relevant in terms of issue transitions is more importantly is if engineering closes an issue, for example, but the customer is not happy with the response or it didn't solve the problem for them, then support team may, for instance, want to reopen it. Or conversely, if the customer has stopped responding or the issue got resolved separately, then before you close the case, you can also just go ahead and close the issue. So engineering no longer needs to deal with it. So those are the things that you can do from here. So we can start progress, for example, and you can see that the issue status is changed automatically. But it will also be reflected in the case itself when we go to refresh the case. So now the issue status is in progress. In terms of issue transitions, we also give you sort of quick pop-up here that allows you to do the same thing. So rather than going through multiple clicks, you can close it, resolve it, stop progress. So all workflow transitions that are there in JIRA issue are available right here. So all of this, as I said earlier, is meant to make it really easy for support teams to not only escalate but interact and collaborate on an ongoing basis with all of these escalations. So what we have seen so far is being able to link issues, being able to create, update, and transition. Now we'll look at some of the other capabilities, for example. One of the other actually new features that we've added recently is this refresh. So what you're looking at here is represented from the zIssue object within Salesforce. So whenever anything is updated for this issue in JIRA, and let's actually go to JIRA and check what it looks like there. So you'll see here, for example, all of the case fields that had been shared with this issue, either through mapping, which is here, or through reference, which is here. So those are all represented. This is important as a table because this issue could be linked to multiple cases. So you'll see information for all of those cases here. This is important because these fields are coming from the case that originally created this issue. So since it's not really possible for multiple cases to create a single issue, this will only represent the parent case and the information that's relevant to the parent case. So that's the important distinction here. And as I said earlier, if you make changes to issue here, whether it's issue status or assignee, then you will see them in real time within the case itself. The same thing. So actually, we'll do it from the case out. So for example, if I change case origin to phone, then you will see that updated in JIRA right here in real time. So at all times, you're seeing updates happening in real time in both places, so that the information is shared and it's reliable. Now let's move to some of the other capabilities that we've talked about. For instance, collaboration. So we, as I mentioned earlier, we do provide now ability for you to just post directly from case feeds. So you can either do this through case comments, or you can do it here. So hashtag JIRA is an explicit action that allows you to post something directly to JIRA. And if you go to the JIRA issue itself, you will see, oops, here's the comment that just came from this case, and this is the user that was logged in that submitted this comment. So we also give you the signature there. The same thing on this side. If you want to share something with Salesforce, hashtag Salesforce allows you to do the same. So if you go to the case and refresh it, you will see the comment from engineering. So this is essentially the ongoing interaction that you will have in terms of once something has been escalated, you're able to both track the status activity associated with that issue, but also collaborate with engineering directly from here. And of course, as you're doing that, all of those interactions or conversations are captured so that anyone else working on the case can follow up and know what was being done and what's the history of the resolution. So that's one sort of flow that I wanted to talk through. Now let's talk about another feature which I had alluded to earlier, which is auto issue creation. So in our configuration, Let me just quickly walk through this. So if you look at some of the configured parameters, so here's a list of all the projects that you configure that would be available to support team. We've selected all of them that they can create an issue in. These are the issue types. And then here are some default values. So what this means is that these values will be the ones used either when you're creating issues automatically, or they'll be the first ones shown to the support agent when they want to create an issue, and then they can change it. And then beyond that, we also, as I said, support auto issue creation. And then more recently, we've added the ability for you to specify certain criteria. So here we're saying that create an issue automatically if the case origin contains the value mail, meaning if the case came from an email. So with that in mind, the case that I had just created earlier, the origin was phone or web, so it didn't create an issue. But if I were to, for example, submit this here, so here's a customer reporting a problem via email. And so a new case is created, and you'll see, for example, the case is created here. And here's the problem description. And there's also automatically an issue associated with it in JIRA. And so you can go to that issue and you'll see all of the fields that have been pre-populated through the case to field mapping. So here, it's automatically done a bunch of things for you. It's provided product development with all of the default values set, but also the case subject, some description, and so on, as well as the context of which case it came from and whatever is known about it. So as you go back to the case and you update things, for example, you update a contact, then you will see, for instance, let me fill out some more fields. Oops. Okay, how about we try this? So now that we've done a bunch of updates, you'll see all those updates reflected here within the context of the case. And if you click on it, they will have further information about the contact and the account that is associated with. And then also, again, making it convenient, given that there was an attachment associated with an email that was a screenshot. So you can also just click on send attachments and send that to the issue. So this allows you to do attachment exchange from case to JIRA. And if you look at JIRA, you'll see, for example, the attachment showing up here. The same thing here, and I'm not going to go through that, but you've got this icon. So if there were any attachments associated with the issue, you will have the ability to send that. Now, this one already came from Salesforce, but if there was another one that we wanted to share with Salesforce, we would have that on this list and we could send it back to Salesforce. So let's see, in terms of features then, we've, just to kind of circle through everything, we've shown you the case list view along with related JIRA issues, counts, and or icons. In this case here, you'll see a graphic representation. You are able to see issue details as well as the core issue attributes just within the case detail page. We were able to create and update JIRA issues as well as transition workflows. Also from here, you can do that from here or from the detail page. We showed you the search functionality as well as linking, so it's possible to link to one or many cases or unlink, depending upon the relevance of that case to JIRA issues. Issue activities within console components, for example, so you can see what's happening with that issue in JIRA. Searching in the console component, comments, attachments. One of the other things that we've also added more recently is some of our customers had actually requested this, is the ability to send attachments not just that are associated with the case, but potentially other objects. So you've seen an example of it already. The case that was created recently came from an email, and hence the attachment that was associated with the email ended up as an email attachment. So now you can configure attachment sources so that it will give you that list of attachments when you want to send to JIRA. So here we have configured attachments from case feed and case email. But attachments may also be associated with other sources or custom sources, in which case those attachments will be listed when you want to send an attachment to JIRA. Okay, and then finally, I'll talk about quickly about reports. So you can, given that the issue information that you have chosen to share with Salesforce or with Case is available within Salesforce as a custom object, you can now also then leverage that to create reports. You have access to all of those fields. So here, basically, you can select the junction object and the zIssue object, and now you can drag and drop and create reports and charts appropriately, because associated with the case and the issue, all of the attributes are also available to you here. So I think that pretty much concludes this part of the demo. Let me now switch over. So next, I want to just quickly cover extending Zagil Connect, and then I will turn it over to Jean-Pierre, who's our product lead for Zagil Connect. And he will also give you a quick demo on one particular use case associated with extending Zagil Connect through integrating with Flow and Process Builder. So as I said earlier, many of our customers have done more than just what's out of the box functionality, which you've seen so far, to integrate JIRA within their support workflows and processes. So one way to do that is through triggers. So triggers allow you, triggers on the zIssue custom object in Zagil Connect, which represents a JIRA issue in Salesforce. So a trigger on that will allow you to capture any issue events, any updates that are happening for that issue, and then perform certain actions on case fields based on those events. So that's a fairly common scenario. We also provide you in our documentation on how you might create a trigger through an example. Related JIRA issues formula field, this is also something that can be configured, and you've seen an example of it already in the list view, where you could see icons that represent associated JIRA issues, one or many. Case to issue field mapping, you've seen that. So a lot of different types of case fields can be mapped, or formula fields that can be mapped to JIRA. It depends on the level of detail that you want to provide to product development relevant to a specific customer case. Filters for issue auto creation, you've seen that. This one was particularly important because not everybody wants to automatically create JIRA issues whenever a case is created, because a lot of times if you have cases tied to emails, then you can end up with a lot of spam. So here you can create certain very specific filters and then automatically escalate appropriately. And then console components, I mean, these are also configurable, and I've shown you those in terms of how you can leverage them for a little bit quicker view of issue activity and also ability for people to search. So on this note, what I like to do is turn over to Jean-Pierre so that he can give you show you an example of how you could use Flow and Process Builder for some further extension of this integration. So let's see. JP, you're on.
Okay, thank you, Sanjeev. Okay, I'm going to describe two common use cases that we have seen with our customers. The first one is that, for instance, you have a new case, and when the agent creates an issue or links an issue for that case, you want the case to be automatically escalated, meaning that the status of the case, you want to change it to escalated. So that's one simple use case. This we are going to show you in a moment how we can do that just using a process builder. We don't need a trigger for that simple scenario. And the second scenario will be to, once you have linked or created an issue for a case, what if the engineering start working on that issue? Meaning that the engineering changed the status for that issue for in progress. You want also the case to change the status to working, right? Or you can also, for instance, send a notification to the case owner that some event happened with the issue was resolved, or the work has started for that particular issue. So let's start with the first use case. I have predefined my processes, but the first use case, we just need this process, which is escalate case when issues created or linked. Okay. In the zAgileConnect package, we have many custom objects that we have defined, and one important custom object is the one that stores the relationships between case and issue. We call it the junction object. The name of this object is zIssueCase. So we are going to start this process listening for events on this issue, on the junction object, zIssueCase. So we are interested only when the record is created, when a record is created in this issue, meaning that there is a link established between a case and an issue, because an issue was created or because an issue was linked. We are going to add some criteria here. Okay, we want to update the case status when? Only when the case has a status new, because if the case is already escalated, we don't want to update it. Or if the case was already closed, we don't want to update the status again to escalate it, right? So here we have this condition. The case status needs to be new for an action to be performed. So only when this criteria is accomplished, we are going to execute this action. And what is the action? The action that we are going to do is to update a case field. So the record that we are going to update is this is our junction object, and this is the case ID. So we are updating the case related to this issue. And which field we're going to update? We are going to update the status to escalated. So this is pretty simple. It's already enabled, and let's see how it works. For instance, here I have a new case. It was just created, has the status new, and I'm going to create a new issue. I'm just going to click create this and refresh. So here you can see that because I created an issue, the status of the case have changed to escalated. So that's the first use case. It's pretty simple. It will happen the same if I just link an issue for this particular case. For the second scenario, we want to execute some actions when there is some event in the issue. This event means that the issue has transitioned to in progress, or the issue has transitioned to resolved, for instance. We can, I'm going to show now how we can list them for in progress or resolve it, but you can also extend this to other events. For instance, when the issue was assigned, you can say that if the assignee field has changed, then execute some action, right? Like send notification to case owner with the name of the assignee, for instance. That's another scenario. Okay, so for this particular, this second scenario, in order to use process builder and just process builder, we need to add a field, a custom field in our custom object that stores the relationship between issue and case. So this object is some object that we provide, and we provide this object only with two fields, the case ID and the issue ID. This is because it's just a junction object, right? But here you can add a new custom field called issue event. It's just a simple text field. In this field, we are going to store the events coming from JIRA. For instance, issue assigned, issue started progress, issue resolved, any event that you may think of from JIRA. So we need to first pass the issue event and copy the issue event into this new field that you have created. For that, I have created another simple process builder. This process builder is now going to listen on the cIssue object. cIssue object stores all the issue fields that we have from JIRA, like status, assignee, summary, description, stuff like that. So now we are going to listen when an issue is created or when an issue was updated. We are going to listen on that event. The criteria that I have defined is that when the status has changed for that issue. So when the field status is changed, this is my condition, only in that scenario I'm going to execute some action. And here, this is important to set this, no, in this case, no. Okay, so the immediate action that we are going to execute is just to copy the status, the issue status, custom field we have created called issue event. So with this process, we are just copying the issue status into the custom field issue event that we have created. And why we do that? Because with that, we can define a third process. And this process is the one that is going to update the case status based on some issue event. So now we are going to listen again on the junction object. But this time we are going to listen when the record is created or updated. Updated meaning that when some value has changed in the issue event field. For instance, issue was set to in progress, like this criteria. So here, when the issue event field has the value of in progress, and yeah, this is the part I wanted to mention before, we want to pass this criteria only when the value has changed, right? For instance, the issue was previously in status new and then changed it to in progress. But if there is any other update in this object that is not relevant, meaning that it didn't change the status, we don't want any action to be executed, right? Only when there is a real change in the status. So in this case, when the issue is transitioned to in progress, we are going to execute this action. We are going to update a record. In this case, we are going to update the case related to this issue. And here we can also set some condition to update. For me, the condition will be that the case is not closed. If the case is not closed, then I can update the status to working in this case, right? This makes sense, right? You don't want to reopen a case just because someone engineering made some transition, or maybe you want. It depends on you if you add this filter or not. The second criteria I have added here is when the issue is resolved. Again, this criteria is anything that you may think. For instance, when the issue is assigned, or when a component or a version has been chosen for that particular issue. Those are some events that you may set as criteria. But for me, in this example, I'm going to say that the issue is resolved when the status is done, resolved, or closed. In any of these status, for me, the issue is going to be resolved. Again, I want to listen only when there is a real change in the value. So I make it, check it yes, to only execute the action when there is a change made in the value. And in this scenario, I want that when an issue is resolved, I want to post a message in the feed of the case owner. So here I am adding this action. I'm going to post to a user feed. And here I'm selecting the case owner. And this is the message. The good thing here is that you can add values, variables to the message. So I'm adding the issue case, it was resolved on some date with this status, and the case related to this is this case number. Okay, let's see how it works. I have here my case, my issue, and I'm going to transition this issue to in progress. So someone started progressing the issue, and let's see how this changes in Salesforce. It was previously escalated, right? Now you can see that the status of the case is working because I have someone engineering have made a transition to in progress in the issue. The other scenario is that when the issue is resolved, I'm going to resolve the issue. Okay, issue resolved, and in this case, I wanted to post a message on the case owner. So let's go to the case owner feed. And you can see that a message has been posted here. The issue was resolved on this date, time, with this status, and this is the case that is related. Of course, this is going to, the case owner is going to receive an email because he have received a message in the chatter, so he will also receive an email for that transition. Okay, Sanjeev, that's it for me. Hope this helps.
Great. Thanks, JP. Appreciate it. Good demo. So let's actually take Q&A. So before moving on to our concluding remarks. So I'll just go through the questions. So first one, I'm going to turn this over to you, JP, because I don't remember. But in the current implementation, particularly with JIRA Cloud, the way the functionality works is that if reporter field is blank, then it is auto pre-filled with the integration user. So you have the choice when you're creating an issue to either specify a reporter or it will just default to integration user. Again, this is JIRA Cloud. So JP, is this something that is going to be a limitation, or the question is that something that can be improved on so that the logged in user can be captured as the integration user?
Okay, well, in on-premise, you have the option to.
No, this is JIRA Cloud.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Is it possible to enhance it is the question.
um, yeah, I think there is one way to try to support that. In fact, that is in our plans to support. Currently, we support user masquerading for Jira on-premise only, but it's on our plan to support also user masquerading for on Jira Cloud.
Okay.
But
Okay. So the question, sorry, I'm just gonna be quick about it because we're running out of time. But the answer is that yes, it is something that we are looking into in our future release. Okay, the next question is, right now, zAgileConnect is focused between customer support and product teams. Do we plan to support sales and product integration? The answer is yes. We actually, our next major release will support other objects beyond case, including custom objects. So we are working on that. And also, yes, we actually do currently have customers in healthcare space. Now, the next question is issue details where you can see comments, activity history. So if you have an older version of Zagil Connect, 1.6x, for example, then that feature isn't available there. So you will need to upgrade it to 1.7 at least, or preferably the latest 1.7.5. And everything you saw today is accessible. Now, the other question is if we want to pull in more fields from JIRA during issue creation, can that be done? So the whatever shows up in issue creation, particularly in additional details. So there's two aspects of it. One is what you see in issue creation initially, and then when you click on additional details. What you see additionally are the default fields and also required fields. So we pick all of those up because they have to be filled, otherwise issue cannot be created. And then additional will then pick up all the others. All of those fields are what has been defined for that issue type and the creation screen. So in JIRA, if you configure more fields there, then they will show up in Salesforce. So it is something that you would want to work with your JIRA admin to define there. And then another question is, as I was showing comment attachment updates, particularly comments, when you have many-to-many relationships, then how will comments work? So if you do just hashtag Jira and hashtag Salesforce, it will send to all related issues or cases that comment. But you can specify if you only want to send to a particular issue, you can specify a follow-up hashtag and issue key or hashtag and case number, in which case it will only send to that case. So when you have many to many, it is possible to send to a specific issue or case. So yes, actually we do have, in terms of the demo that Jean-Pierre just provided, we do have a document, and please send us an email, and we'll be happy to share it with you. We'll also incorporate that in our product documentation soon. The example of how you can use process flow to integrate Jira issue events in Salesforce. Um, and then, so the next question, do we have to use Agile Manage package in conjunction with a connector? Or can we just utilize connector and build our own custom objects? Actually, I'm not sure that I understand that in terms of Agile Manage package or building your own custom objects. So perhaps you can clarify that, or just email us and we can have a separate call to understand better what you're looking to do. And so, yeah, to contact us, please, you can either contact me directly, snath@zagil.com, or send email to sales or info@zagil.com if you have more specific requirements related to Salesforce and JIRA integration. Okay, I think that pretty much does it. And so we have been recording this, so we will publish the recording if you would like to share. So you will be receiving an email by tomorrow that will give you the link to the recording. And again, I want to thank everybody for joining us for the webinar today. Zagil Connect is available on Salesforce App Exchange, as I mentioned before, as well as Atlassian Marketplace, both Jira Cloud and server instances. And it's available for 30-day evaluation. And also, by the way, the demo that we just did, both Jean-Pierre and myself, was done using our test drive version, which is available for you also to log in and play around with directly off of the App Exchange. So the most recent version of the product is always available there if you want to just play around with it and check it out. Again, thank you everyone, and have a good rest of the day.